Hello everyone. Today I want to share a story that might just turn your beliefs upside down. Let me introduce you to Caleb Rhodes, a gifted musician from Seattle. After a heartbreaking event, he ventured beyond the threshold of life and death, uncovering truths that completely transformed his views on the afterlife and religion. Are you ready to discover what many belief systems keep hidden? But first, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon so you never miss out on our future videos. Get comfy, because what you're about to hear could shift your perspective for good. Let's dive in. Hi, I'm Caleb Rhodes, and the tale I'm about to recount has reshaped my entire understanding of reality. I came into the world in 1942, and my passion for music ignited at a young age. Fast forward to 1977, when I was 35 and fronting a local band in Seattle. We had a good reputation on the scene, regularly playing at various bars and small venues. Music was everything to me. It infused my life with meaning. I lived each day as if it were a gift, lost in melodies that spoke to my very essence. Back then, I felt invincible. The excitement of the music world was within reach, and I believed our band was on the verge of something big. Nights were alive with the sound of guitars and booming drums, and the thrill of creating something amazing was intoxicating. I had no idea that fate had plans for me that were bigger than dreams of fame or musical accolades. Reflecting on that time, I see just how naive I was, completely unaware of the vast complexities of life and death. I was all about the here and now, hardly pondering existential questions or spiritual ideas. Religion wasn't a part of my life. In fact, I often viewed deeply religious individuals as somewhat misguided. But soon, I was headed for an experience that would challenge every belief I held and force me to rethink everything I thought I understood about what's real. It was a chilly November evening in 1977 when my world was turned upside down. After finishing a show at a small bar, I made my way back to my apartment, crossing the Aurora Bridge. The biting cold wind whipped against my face, but I hardly noticed, still buzzing from the adrenaline of performing. The city lights shimmered in the dark river below, creating a scene that felt almost surreal. At that moment, I was feeling on top of the world, completely unaware that everything could change in an instant. Suddenly, the screeching of tires on the road cut through the air, jolting me back to reality. I spun around, my heart racing, and saw two headlights barreling toward me at a terrifying speed. In that moment, time seemed to drag, and my mind struggled to process what was happening. I tried to bolt, but my body didn't respond fast enough. The collision hit me like a freight train, launching me into the air as if I were weightless. Pain engulfed me in an unbearable wave, like every bone was shattering at once. For a fleeting moment, I heard the cries of people nearby, likely horrified witnesses to the chaos. Then, everything faded to black. I couldn't tell how long I'd been out, but when I finally regained consciousness, something was profoundly off. There I was, gazing down at my own body, lying on the ground, bent and still in ways it shouldn't be. It felt so surreal, like I was watching a movie about my own demise. But the strangest part? I didn't experience any pain. In fact, I felt completely detached from my physical self. As I hovered above the scene, I watched as bystanders panicked around my lifeless form. Some shouted for assistance, while others stood frozen in shock. I wanted to yell, to assure them that I was all right and still very much there, but no voice resonated from what I thought was my mouth. It suddenly hit me. Something extraordinary had unfolded. I wasn't anchored to my physical body anymore. My consciousness seemed to have detached, soaring free from the confines of flesh. A remarkable lightness enveloped me, a sense of liberation I had never known before. As I reveled in this new existence, a gentle force started to pull me, not back down to my broken body, but upwards, toward an incomprehensible destination. It felt as though the universe itself beckoned me, inviting me to uncover its deepest mysteries. As I drifted further away from where the accident happened, the physical world began to blur and fade into obscurity. The vibrance of city lights and the wailing of sirens grew faint until I found myself in a complete void. That's when I encountered them for the first time, the Watchers. Trying to put them into words is nearly impossible. They defied any known human concept of shape or appearance. They were more like entities made of pure, A vibrant, radiant energy surrounded me, but it wasn't the type of light you can catch with your eyes. This illumination felt like it came from deep within, brimming with an ancient wisdom that seemed to pulse with every heartbeat. Oddly enough, these luminous beings felt strangely familiar, like long-lost friends, or perhaps an intrinsic part of my very essence. There was something majestic yet deeply comforting about their presence, evoking awe and a profound sense of peace within me. The Watchers enveloped me, and despite their lack of mouths or any physical form for communication, a voice rang out in my mind. It was everywhere and nowhere, echoing through my entirety rather than in my ears. "Do you trust us?" the voice asked. In that instant, I understood I stood at a crucial crossroads. A part of me was still anchored to my previous life in Seattle, where I was Caleb Rhodes, a musician. Yet another part, a part that had started to awaken, craved something greater, a hunger for experiences far beyond what I had known. Without a moment's thought, I surrendered and affirmed my trust. It wasn't a verbal declaration, but rather a full-bodied agreement, as if every atom of my being harmonized in support of these radiant entities. The moment I embraced that choice, something shifted profoundly within me. I felt the last connections to my physical life snap away, and I was wrapped in an indescribable energy. Suddenly, I found myself moving at an extraordinary speed, one that defied the laws of human comprehension. The Watchers led me through realms that had eluded my imagination, passing through layers of reality that left me in awe. I witnessed colors unknown to human language and heard sounds that resonated with the essence of creation itself. As we journeyed deeper, it became clear that the Watchers weren't merely guides. They were protectors of timeless knowledge, a universal truth that surpassed any human understanding of spirituality or religion. They were ready to unveil the true nature of existence, a reality that would challenge everything I thought I knew about life, death, and the cosmos. With each passing moment in this extraordinary domain, I felt my consciousness expand in ways I never thought possible. I was no longer just Caleb Rhodes, the 29-year-old musician from Seattle. As I lost touch with my own identity, I began to merge with something far broader and profound. It felt like the mental walls I had constructed over my lifetime in Seattle were crumbling away. Concepts that once seemed fixed, like time, space, and who I was, no longer held any weight. I became woven into an infinite cosmic fabric, where every thread interlinked in exquisite and complex ways. In this expanded state of being, the universe unfolded before my eyes like a magnificent, timeless performance. Galaxies were born and perished in what felt like mere seconds, or perhaps it was eons. Time lost all significance in this realm. Stars would explode in brilliant supernovae, scattering the elements necessary for life across the cosmos. Black holes would devour all that surrounded them, birthing new universes in alternative dimensions. The astonishing part? I was able to perceive all of this at once. My awareness had no bounds. One moment I could zoom in on a single atom, and the next I was pondering the immense infinity of a galaxy cluster. Each particle of the universe mirrored the totality of existence, resembling an endless cosmic hologram. In this boundless expanse, I started to grasp the genuine essence of the soul. The Watchers revealed to me that our sense of self, everything from our personalities to our memories and desires, was merely the surface. Our true nature is profoundly grand and eternal. The soul isn't an object we own, it's what we are, an individual manifestation of a shared universal consciousness. What struck me was the interconnectedness of all souls, those that have lived, those that are alive, and those that are yet to come. There is no authentic division among us. It's just the illusion of separation we perceive while living our physical lives. This realization was both daunting and freeing. I came to understand that I had never really been alone. Every thought, action, and emotion I experienced resonated throughout existence. The Watchers have been my guides through countless lifetimes, past, present, and those still to come. I witnessed myself as a soldier in ancient Rome, a mother in medieval China, and even as a child in a far-off future on a planet distinct from Earth. Each life offered a unique perspective, a fresh lesson, and a new chance for growth and transformation. I eventually came to realize that death, as understood in our earthly existence, is merely a passage, a doorway to new experiences and insights waiting to unfold. Life on this planet resembles a classroom for our souls, a place where we each face a variety of lessons. Some of these lessons might be tough to swallow, while others fill us with joy, but each one plays an essential role in our spiritual growth. While I was soaking up these profound cosmic insights, a calmness washed over me. Suddenly, all the anxieties, fears, and stressors that had burdened me felt so trivial when compared to the magnificence of the universe surrounding me. I realized I was both an insignificant speck and vital to something unimaginably huge and beautiful. As I continued my journey with the Watchers, I encountered ideas that turned my understanding of faith and spirituality upside down. In that moment, the truth hit me. Earthly religions, with their rigid doctrines and rules, are mere snippets of a far grander reality. The Watchers unveiled to me that the notions of heaven and hell as fixed locations or eternal states really oversimplify spiritual existence. Contrary to what many believe, there's no divine judge perched on a celestial throne, measuring our lives with a cosmic scale. It became clear to me that we are the architects of our own heaven or hell, shaped by the choices we make and the mindset we cultivate. I observed souls caught in painful emotional states, not due to divine punishment, but because they were ensnared by their own destructive thoughts and feelings. Even after passing on, some people remained trapped in cycles of resentment, fear, and hatred they clung to during their lifetimes, creating dark realities that mirrored their troubled minds. Conversely, I also witnessed souls that exuded light and love, crafting environments filled with unimaginable beauty and peace. They were not perfect individuals according to earthly standards of piety. Rather, these souls had simply mastered the art of unconditional love, genuine forgiveness, and living harmoniously with themselves and others. The Watchers enlightened me about how spiritual evolution isn't contingent on adhering to specific religious regulations or claiming membership in certain faiths. What truly counts is our capacity for love, growth, and learning from our experiences. Each soul embarks on its own distinctive evolutionary journey, and there's no definitive right or wrong way to traverse that path. At the core of all religions lies an understanding that transcends the boundaries of dogma and celebrates the richness of our individual experiences. In recent reflections, I've come to see religious teachings in a completely new light. These beliefs are human attempts, after all, to grasp the intricate spiritual truths that lie beyond our everyday understanding. While each faith presents fragments of the truth, none can claim to hold the complete picture. It's rather astonishing, isn't it? The arguments and disagreements among various religions, often leading to conflict and strife, suddenly seem trivial when compared to the immense spiritual reality I had the privilege to witness. Guided by the Watchers, I discovered that the spiritual realm is infinitely more intricate and expansive than anything we find in traditional religious texts. I realized that there are no genuine divisions among souls based solely on their earthly convictions. Whether one identifies as a Muslim, a Christian, a Hindu, a Buddhist, or even an atheist, we are all members of the same spiritual family, different expressions of a singular universal consciousness. I also came to understand that ideas like karma and reincarnation are grounded in reality, yet their true essence is far more complex than we typically imagine. These concepts aren't merely about punishment or reward. They offer us chances to grow and learn. Each life presents an opportunity to broaden our awareness and deepen our capacity for love. Perhaps what struck me most was the profound insight regarding the divine. The Watchers revealed that what many refer to as God isn't some distant entity, but rather the very essence of life itself. This universal consciousness is what we all partake in. There's no authentic divide between the Creator and what is created. We are simply various manifestations of this divine energy, each exploring existence in our own unique ways. This realization instilled in me a profound sense of humility and wonder. It became clear that every being and every particle within the universe carries its own sacred significance. Divinity isn't contained within the walls of temples or churches. It permeates every moment and interaction, breathing life into each experience. As I absorbed these enlightening truths, I felt a powerful wave of compassion for humanity wash over me. We're all collectively striving to make sense of our existence, hunting for purpose and meaning. Even with their limitations, religions are sincere efforts to connect us with something far greater than ourselves. Yet true connection, I've come to realize, isn't bound by dogmas or rituals. It thrives on unconditional love and the expansion of our consciousness. Drifting in this heightened state of awareness, with the watchers by my side, I was suddenly engulfed by vivid visions of what the future holds. These weren't hazy, distant images, but clear, intricate scenarios poised to shape the path ahead of us. As I navigated through a series of visions, the first scene that struck me was an idyllic day in Seattle. Bright sunlight illuminated towering structures reaching towards the sky. Out of nowhere, planes swooped in, colliding with the buildings in a fiery blast, creating a horrifying spectacle. The aftermath was chaos incarnate, people scattered in every direction, dust and debris enveloping everything around. It hit me then that I was witnessing the tragic events of September 11, 2001. In a blink, the atmosphere shifted dramatically. I found myself in a world shrouded in silence. Streets lay abandoned, stores were shuttered, and families were confined within their homes, gripped by a looming sense of dread. Hospitals overflowed with weary healthcare workers battling an unseen foe. This vision was a grim depiction of a global crisis, what we would later label as COVID-19. These glimpses were deeply unsettling, highlighting the struggles and pain that humanity would endure. Yet the watchers reassured me, reminding me that these trials were part of a grand framework of collective growth. Before I knew it, I was whisked away to a far-off future. What I saw there was astonishing, a reimagined Earth filled with lush, sustainable communities where harmony was the norm. People coexisted not only with each other, but in sync with nature too. Technology wasn't a tool for destruction, but a means to rejuvenate our planet and enhance lives. A profound sense of peace and collaboration lingered everywhere I looked. The watchers explained that, after enduring significant hardships and pain, humanity would eventually awaken to a greater spiritual truth. I envisioned a millennium of tranquility, where individuals recognized their essence as spiritual beings navigating a human experience. In this era, the barriers of race, religion, and nationality dissolved, leading humanity to embrace a sense of oneness. We became part of a singular family, intimately connected not just with one another, but with all forms of life around us. Gone were the days of war, resources were shared fairly among all. I marveled at the scientific breakthroughs that awaited us, enabling travel among the stars, not as invaders, but as benevolent explorers. Humanity had mastered the art of communicating with other entities, both terrestrial and extraterrestrial, broadening our comprehension of the universe and our role within it. One remarkable aspect of this future was the emergence of talents that we might today deem supernatural, abilities like telepathy, energy healing, and the power to manipulate the very fabric of reality. Experiences of thought and feeling weren't just commonplace. They were seen as a natural part of our spiritual evolution. The watchers shared with me that the future wasn't set in stone. Instead, it represented possibilities, avenues humanity could choose to explore. Achieving this brighter tomorrow hinged on a simple idea. Each of us needs to consciously opt for love, kindness, and wisdom in our daily lives. As I immersed myself in these unfolding visions, a mixture of hope and a sense of duty washed over me. It dawned on me that we all play a part in shaping a better world. Every act of kindness, every deliberate decision, and every moment of increased awareness contributes to the collective growth of humanity. Amid this profound cosmic insight, I suddenly sensed a change. The watchers, my guides throughout this remarkable experience, began to drift away. I felt a gentle yet firm force tugging me back. Naturally, I hesitated. Returning to the mundane limitations of physical life felt almost unbearable after having glimpsed the infinite expanse of the universe and the essence of reality. But the prefects reassured me. It wasn't my time yet. There was a greater purpose waiting for my return, a mission to undertake. They reminded me that every life holds value, and each experience is a chance to learn and evolve. As I was drawn back, a strange discomfort stirred within me. It felt as if all that expansive awareness was being squeezed back into the narrow space of my physical self. It wasn't just unsettling, it bordered on excruciating. Then, out of nowhere, I was hit with a torrent of physical sensations. The pain from the accident, which had faded during my spiritual voyage, surged back with overwhelming intensity. Every nerve in my body was on fire, screaming for attention. I opened my eyes, gasping for breath. The bright light overwhelmed me momentarily, and I could hear anxious voices buzzing around me. Gradually, my vision adjusted, and familiar faces came into focus. Eli, my best buddy, and Maggie, my ex, stood by my side, their expressions revealing a blend of relief and worry. "He's awake!" Maggie exclaimed, tears streaming down her cheeks. Eli tightened his grip on my hand, his voice quivering. "Dude, you really scared us. We thought we lost you." I was so eager to talk, but my throat felt like sandpaper. There were so many truths swirling in my mind, but the words just wouldn't come out. As I lay there, I noticed a medical team rushing into the room, bombarding me with questions while they checked my vitals. I caught snippets of their chatter. Miracle, unexplainable recovery. It struck me how incredible it was that I had survived such a horrific accident. I was awake, alert, and somehow seemed to be okay physically, which baffled them. While they examined me, my thoughts spun in a chaotic dance. How could I even begin to explain everything that had unfolded? The profound experiences felt like wisps of a dream, fading away the more I tried to grasp them. In the days that followed, I was poked and prodded through a barrage of tests. The physicians were completely thrown off by how quickly I was bouncing back. Physically, I was nearly unscathed, which made no sense given the nature of the crash. But deep down, I knew that the real changes couldn't be measured in any lab. As I started to regain my strength, I felt an urge to share what I had been through. Yet, it didn't take long for me to realize how immense that task would be. Words felt so small compared to the grandiosity of what I had experienced. How do you describe hues that lie beyond every color known? How can you even start to express feelings that reach beyond the physical realm? Then there was the skepticism from those around me. When I looked at Maggie, I could see concern mixed with confusion as I began to talk about the Watchers and the universal truths I had come to understand. Eli, always the rational one, suggested gently that I might just be experiencing hallucinations from the trauma. That was a turning point for me. I started to see that sharing my newfound wisdom would be a significant challenge, and perhaps my most important venture. As the months rolled by after I left the hospital, adjusting back to everyday life became a tough slog. The world that once felt so real now seemed surreal. While others fretted about mundane issues like money or status, those worries felt small compared to the grand truths I had touched upon. Fueled by a newfound urgency, I began to share my story with anyone willing to hear it. I spoke about the Watchers, the extraordinary insights I had gained. I found myself deeply reflecting on the timeless nature of our souls and how everything in the universe is intertwined. It was a big shift for me, and I couldn't help but share my thoughts. I attempted to convey how, despite their good intentions, religions only scratch the surface of a much greater truth. But boy, did I get mixed responses. Some folks listened with a hint of curiosity, while others stared at me like I'd just sprouted a second head. My band, once my entire world, started to distance themselves. They seemed baffled by this new version of Caleb, who was more focused on philosophical discussions than jamming together or hitting the stage. Maggie, who had celebrated my recovery, began to show concern mixed with a bit of frustration. One day, she said to me, "Caleb, you've got to snap out of this. Sure, you went through something intense, but it's time to move forward. People are beginning to notice your talk about the Watchers and souls." Then there was Eli. He was my closest buddy, and he wanted to be supportive, yet I could sense his skepticism lurking beneath the surface. After I spent what felt like ages trying to explain the mind-bending concept of time being an illusion, he finally said, "Dude, maybe you should chat with someone professional, like a therapist. They could really help you work through all of this in a healthier way." His suggestion cut deep. How could they think that my most significant and life-altering experience was just a mere figment of my imagination or an episode of trauma? Things reached a tipping point when I got a chance to speak at a local event about near-death experiences. It felt like a golden opportunity, so I poured my heart into preparing. On the day of the talk, I delivered a passionate speech, sharing insights about reality and love as the universe's driving force. The audience's response knocked the wind out of me. Some people laughed, while others shook their heads as if they couldn't believe their ears. One guy even leaped up and yelled, "Fraud," before storming out, slamming the door behind him. Afterward, the event organizers were kind but made it clear that I wouldn't be invited back. That rejection hit me hard. It felt like being cast aside, misunderstood, trapped in a bubble of isolation. The revelations that resonated so deeply with me seemed to others like utter madness or just fanciful dreams. The whole experience summed up my growing sense of alienation from those I once held so dear. It all started when my family, worried about my so-called erratic behavior, pushed me to seek help. Reluctantly, I agreed to see a psychiatrist, feeling a little cornered. When I met with him, I shared my experiences, and he was very attentive. After I finished talking, he peered at me with a blend of compassion and professional concern. "Caleb," he said gently, "what you went through aligns with something we refer to as a dissociative experience. It's often a reaction to trauma, like the accident you experienced. I think a period of observation and treatment could really help you." And just like that, I found myself admitted to a psychiatric hospital for 10 long days. Let me tell you, those days were a real struggle. The stark white walls felt suffocating, and with nurses and doctors constantly monitoring me, I experienced a loneliness that was hard to put into words. How could I convey that I wasn't losing my mind? What I had lived through felt more real than anything else around me. During my time there, I faced a barrage of tests and assessments. It was frustrating to hear terms like delusions, hallucinations, and post-traumatic stress disorder thrown around. Every time I tried to explain the depth of my experiences, it seemed like I just fed into the narrative of my supposed mental struggles. But in this enforced solitude, a realization struck me. The rejection I faced wasn't about me. People weren't ready to embrace a version of reality that shook their very beliefs. I recalled something the watchers had shared with me. Every soul is on its own unique journey, at its own pace. I couldn't force anyone to see what I had seen or to embrace my truths. My role wasn't to sway minds, but to simply share my insights, planting seeds of thought that might one day take root. When I finally walked out of the hospital, I felt a renewed sense of strength. I knew deep down that I wasn't losing my grip on reality. What I'd experienced was more meaningful than anything this world could provide. However, I also realized I needed to change how I communicated my message. It wasn't enough to just declare cosmic truths and expect people to accept them. I had to find a way to relay my experiences without startling anyone, creating a connection instead of a divide. In Seattle, I found myself drawn back to something that had always fueled my spirit: music. It struck me that through the art of song, I could convey the profound lessons I had learned, lessons that resonated on a much deeper emotional level, not just intellectually. So I dove headfirst into composing, and the melodies just poured out of me. They were infused with feelings and deeper meanings, and my lyrics explored themes of universal love, cosmic unity, and the soul's timeless essence, all presented in an inviting way, not preachy or isolating. At first, I faced some challenges. My previous band had split, and with that, I found myself somewhat of an outsider in the local music scene. Nevertheless, I stayed determined. Little by little, I began to attract a fresh audience. These were people who connected with the essence of my songs, even if they couldn't fully grasp where it all came from. I started performing at cozy cafes and local bars, eventually making my way to community festivals. Honestly, it surprised me how my music was resonating much more profoundly than my direct words ever had. After gigs, it became common for audience members to approach me, often with tears glistening in their eyes. They would share how a particular song had struck a chord or provided solace during tough times. It dawned on me that I was achieving something meaningful, something I had never anticipated. I wasn't on a mission to preach or convert anyone. Instead, I was sharing my truth through my art, giving everyone the space to interpret it in their own unique way. As the years passed, my music transformed alongside my understanding of my own experiences. I found myself diving into the realms of philosophy, psychology, and various spiritual philosophies, not to seek validation for my journey, but to weave connections between my personal experiences and the broader spectrum of accumulated human knowledge. In this deep exploration, I discovered that a lot of what the Watchers had shown me echoed through various mystical and philosophical teachings around the world. This revelation granted me a richer appreciation for the ancient wisdom that humanity holds, helping me place my own experiences within a larger context. I started giving talks that moved beyond simply convincing people about my near-death journey. Instead, I focused on discussing themes that are universal: love, compassion, and our interconnectedness. I highlighted how vital it is to expand our consciousness and recognize that we're part of something much greater. As time went on, invitations began rolling in for me to join conferences centered on consciousness and spirituality, where I met others who had walked similar paths. It felt like finding a community, a network of shared experiences and insights, reinforcing the understanding that we're all woven together in this vast tapestry of existence. Reflecting on my life nearly 50 years after that pivotal night on the Aurora Bridge, I realize how profoundly those fleeting moments outside my physical self changed everything. I wouldn't say it was a smooth path. I faced my share of loneliness, doubt, and deep questioning. Yet through it all, I discovered universal themes that bind us together. Unity with the cosmos, a recognition of the illusion of time and space, and that love is at the core of our existence. Gradually, my role became evident. I saw myself as a conduit, a bridge linking the spiritual with the tangible, merging what we know and what lies beyond our understanding. I wasn't out to convert anyone or push dogmas. My hope was simply to encourage others to delve into their own inquiries and unveil their personal truths. As time passed, I noticed the seeds I'd sown starting to sprout. People began reaching out to share how my music and words inspired them to embrace meditation or explore spiritual paths. It warmed my heart to hear they were being kinder to both themselves and others. Meanwhile, I witnessed the foreboding changes in the world that the Watchers had revealed. Events like the tragedy of 9/11 and the global pandemic were tough to grapple with, especially since I had foreseen them. Those occurrences shook me to my core. Yet amidst the turmoil, I also saw flickers of hope, evidence of a significant shift in consciousness. More individuals were awakening to a broader understanding of our reality. Science was beginning to tread into realms once viewed solely through a spiritual lens. Concepts like quantum interconnectedness and the nature of time as an illusion were entering everyday conversations. Although this journey hasn't been devoid of challenges, I am filled with gratitude for being entrusted with this mission. Each mind I've influenced, every heart that has opened, serves as a reminder that my return to this world holds meaning. Now, as I grow older, I embrace the fact that my mission feels like a lifelong endeavor, perhaps even a continuation of past lives. And that's okay. I've made my peace with it. I see myself as a fragment of a larger awakening, much like a grain of sand on the beach of universal consciousness. So I keep moving forward. I sing, I speak, I write, and I strive to embody the truths I've discovered. I remain a bridge, a guiding light, gently reminding everyone that we are far more than we often perceive ourselves to be. At our core, we are all eternal and infinite expressions of love. There were moments when I thought about how much simpler life might be if I could just go back to being that carefree musician I used to be. But deep down, I realized that I could never truly erase what I've gone through. The experiences I had, feeling that deep bond with the universe, gaining profound insights into love and consciousness, they're etched in my being, impossible to ignore. Throughout the years, I witnessed remarkable shifts in the world around me, shaped by the insights shared with me by the Watchers. Tragedies like the September 11 attacks and the global pandemic unfolded before my eyes. Though these events were heartbreaking, they illuminated how interconnected we all are and underscored the urgent need for empathy and understanding among us. On a brighter note, I also observed some uplifting transformations. I noticed a surge in people's curiosity about spirituality and a broader awareness of consciousness. Science, too, began to peek into realms it once dismissed as mere fantasy. It was uplifting to see individuals from diverse backgrounds waking up to a richer understanding of themselves and the world around them. My music has changed along the way, evolving into a means to express the profound truths I've learned. Through my songs, filled with melodies and lyrics, I aim to convey the beauty, love, and interconnectedness that define our existence. It amazes me to see how my music resonates with people in ways I never thought possible. As I look ahead, I find myself teetering between hope and concern. The global awakening I envisioned hasn't fully unfolded yet, but signs tell me we're moving towards it. More individuals are starting to challenge old beliefs and are in search of deeper meanings in both their lives and the universe. I fully expect the journey ahead to be challenging. Humanity is still grappling with monumental issues, climate change, social inequalities, and various conflicts. Yet, I believe we possess the strength to rise above these obstacles. I hold on to the vision of creating a future filled with peace and harmony, which has been revealed to me. My brush with death taught me that it's not the end, rather it's a new phase. So, I find myself unafraid of the day I'll leave this earthly vessel. Instead, I see it as the start of a fresh adventure, a return to that vast sea of consciousness to which we all belong. For now, I stick to my purpose. I keep sharing my message, inspiring others, and acting as a bridge between the material and the spiritual realms. Every awakening brings us a step closer to understanding ourselves and the universe around us. Each act of kindness and love contributes to the hopeful future I once envisioned. So to everyone who encounters this message, let me share something important. You are far more extraordinary than you realize. Your existence is a unique facet of the universe's consciousness, and you have a purpose, one that may still be hidden from you. Take time to nurture love, broaden your awareness, and search for your inner truth. Always keep in mind that death isn't the final chapter. Rather, it's an entrance to a vast and beautiful reality that exceeds our wildest dreams. Embrace each day with this perspective, and you'll witness a transformation in the world around you. Our individual journeys are ongoing, just like yours. We're all explorers in this cosmic journey together, continually learning, evolving, and expanding. When we eventually reflect on our lives, we'll recognize that every single moment, every struggle, and every joy was a part of a grander scheme, one that embodies infinite love and perpetual growth. I sincerely wish that the tranquility and love I felt on that pivotal evening become a reality for everyone, right here and right now. This is my prayer, my hope, and my mission moving forward. If this spiritual journey resonates with you, please show your support by liking this video, sharing your thoughts in the comments, subscribing to the channel, and turning on notifications so you can catch every new video. Help us share this inspiring message with more people. Until we meet again.